My story, child that matters. Introduction. I am of the first generation that has not gone to residential school. I've seen so much of our pain, sorrow, frustrations, anger, or anything that has had nothing but a negative impact on the lives of the First Nations people. I can relate to the residential schools. A way of life was family and environment, knowing where we stood in the family structure and how to respect and we belonged to the natural environment. Giving thanks to all that nature provided our clothing, our diet, our medicine, our classroom, and our university. It was our way of life. We came from such a strong connection physically, culturally, spiritually, and respectfully as a people, taking only what was needed. During the ban of the potlatches, our children were ripped from their homes, our families, our communities. We all know the stories of what had happened to the children in the days of the residential schools and the potlatch ban, but the effects are still causing today's First Nations people to suffer in so many levels, not knowing how to do the simple things in life most of us take for granted. Life's simplest things become barriers of not knowing where they fit, not knowing how to ask for help. Sadly, not knowing has also led some of our people away from their true identity of being First Nations. Went corporate so far they don't even know where they stand in their own culture. But within the culture of our First Nations people, all of our struggles that we face today would never have been an issue. We wouldn't leave our families with the last resort of being homeless or suffer enough to get stuck in addiction. I have heard our elders talk of times when their elders never having to resort of things like walkers, scooters, or hearing aids. All of these luxuries have weakened us, and we have started to seek validation of where we stand, with no clear understanding of how to stand in our own mind and thoughts. Being so lost, we don't even know it's okay to say, "Can you help me?" or "I don't understand." Being stuck in a dark place of not knowing whether or not you matter. There is a point, though, a point in your mind where you get to and understand that enough is enough. You start to tell yourself you don't want this anymore. And you know what? I am right here, living proof that it's possible. We all have it in us. We can make that comeback greater than a setback. I can go on and on about how I trained my mind to do the impossible with the belief in myself and how it literally changed my life until I'm blue in the face. And I will. But when I sat back and really thought about what was the main reason I started drinking in the first place, now this is where I faced the oldest demon I had within my subconscious mind. Not that I didn't act on my curiosities, only kept it from the eyes of others. Meaning I wasn't even true to myself when I was at the age of puberty, which we all know happens at different times for all of us. I was the youngest of seven siblings, and it wasn't a conversation that many of us really had within the family. I didn't know what was happening to my body or why my thoughts were the way they were. I didn't know the challenges were natural, changes were natural, and everyone would be going through them. Not only did I do all that I could to keep the hairs off, my thoughts brought so many curiosities of both the male and female anatomy. This, of course, bring me to explore my own body and made me curious about others. There were others with similar interests, and yes, some of them curiosities came to life. We tried a variety of sexual acts together. At first, mutual masturbation and looking at porn. We all know this now, this is a common occurrence among males hitting puberty, whether you admit it or not. But this led to other acts of bringing out curiosities, and touching started. Then it led to more. I won't lie, there were a few that were curious, but when explored, they decided they didn't want it anymore. There were a few of us that took the time and found places to indulge in our curiosity. As time progressed, we all went our different ways, and the sexuality of that time became non existent or dormant at the very least. Not to say that sex is the only part of me that is different or hidden. I also enjoyed the feel of women's clothing, mainly underwear, panties, thongs, and lingerie under my guy clothes. I tell you this because even though I hid who I was to the public eye, I was still who I was when I reached that coming of age part of my life. Over the years of hiding who I truly am, I didn't allow myself to learn more about it. Now that I am comfortable enough to be open about how I like to dress and admit to myself what my sexuality is, I feel such a weight lifted off my shoulders. Not allowing the opinions, words, or actions of others to decide, alter, blind my perception or direction of the life I choose to live. That's where I found the confidence to be truthfully and openly me. When I realized that who I really am is someone with a unique shine, and it is my shine, and it is who I am. When you reach the point of being true to you, life opens up so many doors. Life becomes something better. Your confidence starts to build. You start to rebuild an empire within, and life literally becomes a magical place. But this small portion of my life that has been the start of the man I am today, many of the talents and capabilities that came naturally, not limited to my physical presence, but with my words, energy, thought process, influence, and leadership skills as well. Many loved ones, family and friends that have become family, have taught me life lessons in ways I'm sure they have no idea. In fact, some of the ones mentioned in my story that I've reached out to were surprised that I even remember some of the certain moments in our time together from as far back as grade 1. My memory is quite vivid of the majority of my life, but my story is about many of the impacts that has formed me to be fucking unstoppable with a mindset of manifestation, positivity, and creativity. These are the lessons I have taken to my soul.